A lot of people don't remember, but I was on season 2 of Tonight's Conversation before Ace Metaphor decided to take it on the road. When I went to film, I met Trip there, and I met Kitty Rose there. Now, I had already had a few exchanges online with Kitty Rose that were unpleasant, so I wasn't really like interested in her, and I had an unpleasant experience with Kitty Rose, so I wasn't interested in her. I remember telling Ace that if Keita was going to be on, then I didn't want to have anything to do with it, and so she wasn't there, but a few other people like Keyshawn Scott was there, Samantha Gibson, who is Tyrese's ex-wife, she was on, and a couple of other life coaches and relationship coaches. And what I learned very early is that Ace is extremely honest. He's not a type of person that is manipulative, but he's very honest about like what his intentions are. And when he was looking for people to be on the Tonight's Conversation show, you literally had to be posting every day. You had to be someone everybody was talking about. And that's why he actually chose me to be on the show, because during that time, everybody was talking about, you know, how I felt about African American men not being the best fathers in the world. And I was just making a lot of noise on social media, and I was posting every day. Around this time, I had 300,000 followers on TikTok. This was before I got banned 3 more times. After that, I've been banned a total of 6 times. So a lot of the stuff that I was saying was bringing a lot of controversy. And so Ace knew that and invited me onto his show. And that's the common thread with his show. Notice he will usually find someone who is in the moment doing well and getting a lot of attention, and he'll put them onto the show. And that's basically everyone else. The show isn't Ace. Ace is just basically the producer of the show. I don't think Ace ever tried to make himself be the center of attention on the show. The goal was to always have the talent be, you know, the center of the show. And so I remember also talking to Trip, and Trip did not believe that he was the type of man that would give relationship advice. And I remember him and I sitting down talking about it, and I said to him, matter of fact, I don't even think we were sitting down. I think we was like standing somewhere. We were somewhere at Ace's house, and me and Trip was talking, and he said that he felt like he was from the streets, and there was just no way he could be the type of man to give relationship advice. And now you speed up a couple of years, and now it's that Trip is like the center of the show, and everybody loves him. And I was telling him back then, like, he was a phenomenal man, and he needed to just go up there and say what he says, and that's what he did. And I'm telling you, he went all in with that. Like, he's a brilliant man. And so there were some things that I was concerned about that I learned about Ace while I was there. And it really isn't uncommon, because when you think of someone like Derrick Jaxn, right? Derrick Jaxn, a lot of people canceled Derrick Jaxn when they found out what was happening between him and his wife, Danae Jackson, right? But what I think a lot of people don't realize is that from the beginning of Derrick Jaxn posting content, he did say at some point that he was a player, and that he was teaching women to not go after men who were like him. These were in the beginning stages of him publishing books and doing the things that he was doing. And I think with time, him keeping his relationship and his marriage private was actually a good idea, because if you wanted to make the money and you wanted to exploit women or to make money off of Black women and their singleness, it would make sense for you to be a single man, because you become more appealing than you would a married man, right? To a lot of single women. So what I noticed with Ace is telling women exactly what they want to hear. Do I agree that he should be doing that? I'm not here to judge him, but I realized then that that's what he was doing. And if you want to get some bread, you got to kind of find a way to get some bread. You know, that's what you got to do. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying that's how that's working. And I remember someone saying that Tony Gaskins said something about people going on tour who are not married, and they're talking about relationships, pretending that they're gurus and stuff like that, shouldn't be doing what they're doing. And it's just like, nah, I disagree with that. I mean, I think that Tony Gaskins can give people a different perspective about marriage and, you know, tying God to their relationship. And then you got single people out here who are doing a lot of dating, who are actually good people to end up with, and you can listen to their advice as well. It's just, it just depends on the person. Like, a lot of us have something that we could teach everybody. So to me, him saying that, it was almost like a level of jealousy. But that's just my perspective. So now the people who helped make the show, who actually wouldn't even have a decent following themselves had they not done the show, I feel like Keita's content was good, but I don't think it would have got to the level it is now had she not did tonight's conversation. Randy, the same thing. I think Randy was doing good content, but I don't think she would have. The tonight's conversation was a vehicle for these talented people to become who they are, and sometimes you grow out of it. It doesn't mean that Ace is the problem. It just means that Randy, Keita, and Trip all grew out of that. Who Ace is going to use to replace those three is beyond me, but I don't think he's going to try to replace them. I think he's just going to keep doing what he's been doing, which is find people who bring a lot of noise or make a lot of noise on social media, who have a following on social media, who have a controversial voice and, can hype up the crowd. That's what Ace is. He's a producer. He's not really talent himself. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, I know a lot of people are saying that Ace is the problem. I don't think Ace is the problem. It could be a number of things. I don't know. I think I had more issue with Ace's manager than I did with Ace. You know what I mean? But I do feel like Ace is one of those men who is like a player. And I think he is extremely hypersexual. I think he was actually dating somebody when I filmed for the show. So I don't know. I don't think that it's Ace. I think it's a number of things that's causing them to leave the show. I don't think that it's Ace. But I know how people are. They're going to try to make it seem like Ace is the problem. It could be anybody on set. Because the set you got crew people. When I was filming, there's people on the crew, management, assistants, all types of people walking around. It could be anybody. It could be the way the team was formed. It could be money is not flowing right. It could be anything. But I knew something was up when Randy left. That I immediately, when she left, I was like, oh no, something's wrong. Ace is a pretty smart dude. He'll find a way. This show was a dream of his that he did execute and he did accomplish. I don't think people understand how influential that is to other people who may want to start their own show or start their own podcast. A lot of these other podcasts that you see right now with an entire panel, Ace's show was like the catalyst for that. And I think he wasn't even the first person to do it. I think that one guy, what's that light skin guy name? From Eight at the Table. I forgot, he had a show called Eight at the Table. And I don't even know if that was his show, but that show was the first show I saw that was pretty decent and could hold your attention, that had a panel. And then tonight's conversation was formed. At least that's how I remember it. And so now you got all these other podcasts with panels and they're talking about relationships. So Ace is a trendsetter, and so he'll find another way to generate some income, I believe. I think he's a smart guy, and I think he is a good producer and can come up with some good things to do. And I don't think this is the last stop for him just because he no longer has Randy, Keita, and Trip. He might replace the three of them. I don't think he is, but I think he's just going to go back to podcasting the regular show like he was doing before. Because, I mean, they've been basically touring for years at this point. It's like I don't even think the show was supposed to be live for that long, but, you ride the wave, right? That's what I think. I don't think it is anything deeper than that. To me, Keita got a lot of drama with her in general. So if you read messages from her and it seems like, oh, she's implying that she didn't sign an NDA, so she's going to say whatever and do whatever. And it's just like, whatever. If you smart and you're a good businesswoman and, you want to continue to work, you might want to keep a lot of it to yourself, because a lot of it ain't even worth talking about, honestly. At the end of the day, you leaving gracefully and with some class is good enough. That's where it needs to stop at, because, I mean, keeping the drama going, I don't think anyone who is a PR person or a good manager would tell her to do something like that. And honestly, last time I checked, her manager was actually Ace's manager as well. So if she's no longer on tonight's conversation, it could mean that she also no longer has that management. When I was filming for the show, I was inquiring about using his management team then, and that's how I found out that Keita is using the same management team as Ace. So I don't know. I just feel like this could be, a marketing thing for Keita to get more subscribers to her YouTube channel, and they're branching off doing their own shows and stuff like that. So they're trying to find ways to pull people to, what they're doing. Not so much Trip, because I think Trip is a phenomenal man. He's a phenomenal poet, and I don't think initially he even had any idea it would get this big. But I see that Kitty has her own show, and I see that Randy has her own show, and I think they just outgrew it. I don't think it's no beef there, but if it is, it happens. Shit happens. I wish all of them the best. Everyone has their own crowd, their own unique thing that they're doing, and I respect anyone who could, last as long as they did on the show in general. Because a lot of people start podcasts and they can't even finish it. Shit, I just started a new podcast called Sisterhood Unfiltered, and I only got one damn episode, and it's been up for 2 months, and I've yet to circle back to that shit. So it's just like, if they could have managed to work together that long and touring and everything, that's something to clap for. And even if it ends, it was good while it lasted.